anticipate being at each phase? You know, obviously, a lot of the big businesses in our area, in any area, is phase 2. So how long do you anticipate it taking to get to that point?
You can, it will be determined by the facts and the numbers as you go along, right? You are more of a visual person. You're turning a valve, increasing the economic activity. Your question is, how fast can we open the valve? You have a dial right next to the valve that says infection rate. You have another dial that says hospitalization rate. You can open that valve as fast or as slow to keep that infection rate below 1.1, which is what they call outbreak. If it hits 1.1, it means the virus is increasing exponentially. So watch that dial, watch the hospitalization rate, and the timing of phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, it's determined by those two dials. It's determined by those facts. You watch the infection rate, you watch the hospitalization rate as fast as you can come online without increasing the virus spread to outbreak or increasing the number of deaths, then that's how fast you reopen the economy.
Will you shut it if it's too fast?
The local region has a control room and a circuit breaker, we call it, to stay with the graphic physical metaphor. Circuit breaker, if you see those dials going into the red zone, if you're really closely watching the dials, you wouldn't have to turn the valve off. You would just slow the valve a little bit, depending on how well your dials are calibrated and whether you're watching or not. So the best would be just slow instead of off. But if the dials go into the red zone, circuit breaker, turn the valve off until you get the dials back under control. The whole ride across the mountain has been getting the spread of the infection under control, what they call the infection rate, how fast it's spreading. It has to be under 1, which is one person who is infected infects less than one other person, right? You have to keep the infection rate below that, and you have to keep the hospitalization rate at a manageable level. You can't overwhelm your hospitals, period, because then people die, and that is a universal bad thing. You watch those two dials, and you calibrate it locally. Well, how fast can you open? Nobody knows. It also depends on how smart you are in the opening. Now, if you open businesses and the employees are smart and the business owners are smart, well, then theoretically nobody should get infected, right? You should be able to go to work, be 6 feet apart from everyone, have the right precautions, nobody gets infected. You do it wrong, you're at the meat processing plants and the poultry processing plants that we've seen across the nation. You open up, everybody goes to one place, a few people have the infection, and now you have 1,000 workers infected. How did that happen? It was improper precautions in the workplace. So it depends on how businesses do, how employees do, and then you watch those dials. As fast as you can reopen. Just watch the dials.